Alrighty guys, welcome back to another one. We're not going to be loading anything today or shooting anything up at the range. This video is just going to be talking about some upcoming stuff we have for the channel. We have a whole plethora of slugs here. I'll show you guys in just a moment. We have all sorts of fancy wads. We have a couple new barrels. I've got, some new guns to show off on the channel. Well, not new guns, but guns you guys have not seen before. Works in progress. Some good stuff like that. So first things first, we got a bunch of slugs here sent by James. At least 5 different kinds that I can, make out from here. We've got, I don't even know what these are. I'll have to look and see. But this is a cool one. Full bore 12 gauge. We have a very similar slug here. I believe this is the botfly. Correct me if I'm wrong, but very similar slug, but this one is segmented. We have a Lyman 525 that is, solid, not a hollow base. We have, again, I don't know what these slugs are. I should have looked, but you attach these Azot wads right here. I have some red ones and some white ones. But the wad attaches to the slug just like this for rifled barrels. Although they might work in a smooth bore too, being attached to the wad. We have the same style of slug, but this one appears more of a Mini style bullet, or Mini. I think it's actually pronounced Mini, but people just call it the Mini ball. But moving on, we have another Lyman 525. This one's a standard 525. It's just powder coated rose gold. This one's blue. We got some yellow slugs in here. We have some orange, green, chrome possibly. All kinds of good stuff in this box. Again, this was sent by James. There's probably 75, 80, 90 slugs in here. Quite a few of them. This box is pretty heavy. And got a lot of really cool plans with these. Now moving on from that, we have even more slugs for 12 gauge. Sent by Mr. Hollow Point. These are 425 grain full bore hollow point slugs. You guys have seen these before. We did a video about a month and a half ago featuring Mr. Hollow Point slugs, and those were out of a smooth bore, attached right to the wad with a screw, and those seemed to be really accurate until we got to the really heavy slugs. I'm talking like 800 grains plus. Those are too big and too heavy for a non-rifled barrel, and they seem to tumble, veer off course, and just pretty much do whatever they wanted to do. But the lighter weight ones seem to run fine out of a smooth bore. Not only did he send us the 425s, he also sent us some 525 grain slugs. The 425 is, right under an ounce. These are in between 1 1/4 and 1 1/8. Again, massive hollow point on these. Right there, you can see one right here. But we're not going to be attaching those to a wad this time. He's also sent us some 505 diameter 225 grain bullets. Those are for my rifled barrel H&R 32 gauge. This gun right here, I've got a scope on it now. This gun actually came with this scope. It's just a Bushnell 22 long rifle scope. It's a big, thick bull barrel on it. 12 gauge profile barrel, but with a 50 cal hole in it. The gun does weigh 7.5 pounds without the scope and being unloaded. Quite a heavy gun. Think of it like the H&R Ultra slugs, but in 32 gauge instead of 12 and 20. And that's pretty much what I have here. They are tranquilizer guns, but a lot of people use them for shotguns. Now, I've had 5 or 6 people reach out to me for loads for theirs. I have bought brass hulls for this thing. I've been loading a true 50 cal projectile in it, patched with masking tape, and that seems to do pretty well. I also have a custom mold that drops a 50 cal conical and a 427 cal conical. I put the 427 cal in the shot cup of a regular 32 gauge wad for a Sabo slug. Both are very accurate, but I got a feeling these 505s being slightly over bore diameter are really going to work the magic for this gun right here. So again, the scope, I'm hoping it holds up because, heavy gun, 22 cal scope. I don't think this gun's going to produce much recoil at all. In fact, nothing we have shot through it yet has kicked more than, say, a light 20 gauge load. I'm pretty excited to get this thing sighted in. He sent us quite a few of these, way more than we'll ever need to get it sighted in and demo with. So we're both pretty excited for this one. Another viewer of the show reached out to me and wanted to know if he could send in a sight for that 10 gauge barrel. I got the 23-inch one that Jim sent me, and I said, sure man, you can send us a sight. So got it in the mail, and I got it about halfway into the barrel, and I guess it was a defective unit. It was brand new in the box, True Glow, and like I said, got it about halfway in and it broke off. But it's no big deal. Me and Josh can pull it back out of there, and we'll find something for it. But just wanted to say thank you to Tim for sending that, and I'm sorry that I broke it. It had to just be, like I said, a defective unit, but no big deal. So when Jim sent me that barrel, he also sent along some, I'm assuming these are 3D printed base wads for brass 12 gauge shells, you know, the Magtex. I assume that's what those are for. I didn't ask him, I forgot to before recording this, but Jim, if you see this and I'm wrong, please correct me. He either sent these Azot wads, I believe it was these, or it was these clear ones. James, you sent me some Azot wads too. I'm not sure who sent me what. I just cannot remember. I've got so much stuff piled up here. But thank you both either way. Some BPGS gas seals. All kinds of unique wads here. I believe these are the Claybuster wads specifically for slugs. We have some 12S3 clones in here that are way cooler than the ones that me and Josh have. The plastic feels better on these. And some PT, or maybe it's Fiocchi 12 gauge wads here. Those are always handy. We greatly appreciate that. We've got a lot of slugs here to be testing, guys. I cannot wait for it. Neither can Josh. This should be some interesting few videos coming up here. So stepping away from shotguns for just a moment, I have a Clark First 22 long rifle pistol. These are known to be quite literally the worst production revolvers ever made. This one is unloaded, just to show you guys. None of the guns I show over here are ever loaded unless I make it clear they are. And if they are, finger off the trigger at all times, of course. Can never be too safe with guns. But anyway, this gun right here is kind of a family heirloom. My great-grandmother bought it brand new, I think in '78. She paid $28.99 for it, is what it says on the box anyway. And she kept this, from what my grandma told me, under her pillow every night for years. Which would explain why the finish is all worn off. The entire gun is made out of cast metal or pot metal. It's very, very cheap feeling. The only steel in this is the cylinder, the barrel sleeve, you can see it right there, the pin, the screws, and the inner workings. The rest of it is either plastic or pot metal. If you guys have ever used a really, really cheap staple gun with like an 80-pound trigger pull, imagine that, but 4 or 5 times as bad. This gun has a horrendous trigger pull, like the worst trigger I've ever felt on anything. Even in single action mode, it's got to be 30 pounds. It's bad. But you know what? Sometimes a gun doesn't have to be a precise tool. Sometimes all you really need is a range gun, and that's what this is. This is just something to take to the range here and there to have fun with. This thing weighs nothing, and being a 22 long rifle, you wouldn't think it would have any recoil at all. But I tell you what, this little thing with Federal high velocity 22 long rifle loads, 40 grain, 1240 FPS, you can feel a little bit of recoil with this. And at nighttime, you can see it throw a fireball, and it's quite loud too. But that's what makes it so fun to shoot. Yeah. My great-grandmother passed away in 2015, and it went to my grandfather, and he unfortunately passed away back in March. It's a really cool old gun. This pin right here, See, they made these guns in 2 different calibers, 32 Smith & Wesson and 22 long rifle. It didn't come with the pin whenever my papa got it, long lost. So I found a pin on eBay. The seller didn't know whether it was for a 22 long rifle or a 32 Smith & Wesson, so I bought one. It turned out to be for the Smith & Wesson. So me and Josh did some kitchen gunsmithing, and I took some 320 grit sandpaper, wrapped it around the pin, and spun the pin in a drill to turn down the diameter of it until it fit just right. And that was all good and dandy, but it wasn't long enough to reach the hole right here. The hole right here you see in the breech face. The pin's supposed to sit in it through the cylinder to keep it all, you know, working properly. But there was a ball joint, I guess you call it, I don't know, sitting right here. Josh took my flat file, chucked this up in the drill, and milled it away. And we now have a pin that goes all the way through the cylinder, through the breech face, and we now have, again, this is unloaded, fully functioning revolver here. And yes, that really wears your finger out after only 5 or 6 pulls. So me and Josh are planning on doing some videos that are not shotgun specific. We have rifles and pistols too, plenty of them. Never enough though, right? But anyway, yeah, we're planning on doing some maybe formal reviews and demos on some rifles and pistols we have, of course shotguns too. Stuff that we featured on the channel before, but have never really dove into great detail about it. You know, just used it for specific, like, buckshot testing videos, maybe some slugs here and there. But we're wanting to take those guns, and of course rifles and pistols too, like I said, and doing some formal reviews on specific guns. I think first we're going to do a 22 cal video. I have Floberts, shorts, longs, long rifles, all that good stuff. I can get a 22 Magnum cylinder for my Heritage Rough Rider revolver. Josh has a Marlin Model 60, a 1022, Nylon 66, I believe one other. I've got this Clark First Tier. I've got my Heritage Rough Rider and a Remington Fieldmaster Model 572, I believe it's called. It's a 22 pump that chambers shorts, longs, and long rifles. So that should be pretty fun. Who doesn't love 22, right? So I mentioned in a previous video that a friend of my brother's had borrowed my Browning and my SKS to hunt some deer with. And good news, he got 2 with my SKS. Had this gun for 8 years now, and we used to shoot it all the time. But in the last few years, prices on 7.62 by 39 have went up triple in price, so we haven't been shooting this gun all that much lately. Kind of been putting it on the back burner, just like the Mosins. But ammo for these guns right here is starting to come back down in price. So be expecting some videos with the SKSs and Mosins, AKs, stuff like that pretty soon. I kind of miss shooting this thing. It's been a couple years, I think. It's been a while anyway. But congratulations to Hayden for getting a couple deer. I'm sure this thing appreciated the use. Me, Josh, and his wife went out deer hunting last Saturday morning up behind his pond, the hills up there. And unfortunately, we didn't see anything, but that's the way it goes. Hopefully, we can get a deer next time. If any of you guys are wondering what I used my 10 gauge slug gun. Josh used his Marlin Model 336 in 35 Remington. And his wife used a Savage 25-06. So not only did Mr. Hollow Point send us all those slugs, but he also sent us a rifled barrel for a Mossberg 500. This is my brother's Maverick 88. We borrowed it until we get our hands on a Mossberg or a Maverick 88. Josh is planning on getting one as soon as he can. But yeah, this is my brother's Maverick 88. Mossberg 500 barrels go on those just fine, go figure, maybe the same company. And Josh stuck this scope on it. I have no idea what brand it is. It doesn't say. Oh yes it does. It says Famous Maker. Imagine that. It literally just says Famous Maker on it. This rifled barrel here will be a huge help with these slugs. We can now load up super heavy slugs to test out in 3-inch. I'm talking stuff like 2 ounces, maybe even 2.5. I have seen 2.5 ounce factory slugs in 2 3/4 inch shells. I believe those are called the Quake Maker. We might have to get our hands on some of those and test them out. Those big, heavy, long slugs like that just aren't stable out of a smoothbore. The slugs Mr. Hollowpoint sent us, the lighter weight ones, I'm talking like 800 grains and less, they were perfectly stable and accurate out of a smoothbore, but once you stepped up to like 760 grains, I think it was, they started to show a little bit of instability there. But once we got up to the 1082 grain, there was just no telling where the slugs were going to go. They just went off into the wild blue yonder. But these slugs right here are all 1.25 ounces or less, and even through a smoothbore, they should be incredibly stable and accurate. This rifled barrel here will be the true test of it, though. We fired a couple of these earlier with the Lyman 525 Sabot slugs, you know, the 12 gauge pellet slug, and that was just at maybe 20 yards, and I fired one, Josh fired one, and they stacked right on top of each other. So the gun is extremely accurate. We just need to load some more of those up and get this scope dialed in, and then we'll have some videos out for you guys with it. I just want to close this out by saying thank you to all you guys that have subscribed, liked, subscribed to our Patreon. You know, this channel would be nowhere even close to where it is now without you guys. So we appreciate each and every one of you, and to the people that have sent us all this amazing stuff, you guys are beyond gracious, and thank you seriously for helping the channel grow this much. We really appreciate it. So guys, stay tuned for some awesome content coming up. It's been real cold here in Kentucky lately. I'm talking negative, not negative, but below 20 degrees. Lots of construction work has been going on up at Josh's house. So we haven't had a whole lot of time to film, but hopefully we can soon. And once we do, like I said, we'll have some awesome content coming your guys' way. But anyway, I guess that's about all I have to say. I hope you guys got some enjoyment out of this. Hopefully you got some good stuff to look forward to. And I guess that's about it. Please like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate that. If you got any questions or comments, leave it in the comment section down below, and we will get back to you. Me and Josh both read all of the comments. If you want to, please subscribe to our Patreon. It's as low as $1 a month. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. You guys go check that out if you want to. And until next time, you guys take it easy.